all, welcome.
Thank
And
you.
look at all these people who are here just for me.
It's so funny because no matter how many times we do this, I feel like I always have nerves. So nervous. But I feel like that's a good thing because when you're passionate about something, it's good to be a little bit nervous. It's good to make yourself a little uncomfortable. So thank you all for coming today and watching us be nervous and uncomfortable. But passionate, which is what matters.
It's really funny. She's nervous. Like, what am I? But I'm really excited to talk about Eat, Learn, Play. I mean, just learning about the foundation. You just started this foundation not too long ago. I think it's less than a year, but you've already done some work, and the work is incredibly empowering. But the one thing that I got out from all that work that you're thinking of doing and the vision and all that's behind the organization or the foundation is that there's a lot of love. Mm-hmm. And so I thought a great jumping part, or while we get into this talk, is just to start with the inspiration behind this foundation. And I imagine that it comes from a whole lot of love.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, we all have the ability to make an impact. We all are part of the community, no matter where we come from, what our background is. And I think Ayesha and I have been blessed to be around families that put service and give back in community as a priority growing up as kids. And so we saw that example, and we had no idea what our life would be like at this point. Obviously, growing up in Toronto, growing up in Charlotte, coming out here and being a Bay Area residents for the last 11 years, and this is now our home. Yeah. Very, very proud to say that, but in terms of just the opportunity to create impact of our own and to hopefully make a difference on whatever level, that's always been a part of our life, and I think we've done a lot of great things, kind of individually as we've gone through the years. And the inspiration behind Eat, Learn, Play was taking our collective passions and interests and bringing it together, leveraging the amazing resources that we have, the community and the people that are of like mind, and really, really, amplifying that impact. While we have the chance to kind of springboard it now, and hopefully in the future it does amazing work. And like you said, it's been an amazing ride so far. Less than a year, fully functioning and running, but it's just been amazing to see the response and the stories of people that are in the community doing amazing work that we get to help, share their stories and lift up as well. So it's been awesome, and we obviously have a huge team around us that has helped make this a possibility for sure.
Yeah, I think. Oh. I feel like I've said it time and time again, but I think the whole ethos and reasoning behind this is it truly does take a village to raise a child, and you hear it time and time again, and it's facts. And sometimes people just don't have that village there to support them. So really, the whole mindset behind Eat, Learn, Play is to just be that village for people that need the help, whoever that may be. So.
Let's go into the three pillars. Eat, there's eat, and then there's learn, there's play. We'll start with eat and your work behind that vision. And you talk a lot about food insecurity and how that impacts the youths of America. I mean, the numbers are really high, but just California alone is nearly 2 million, children who experience food insecurity. In Alameda County, that translates to over 55,000 kids who experience food insecurity. For you, it's a huge impact. Not every day people wake up and they think about, hungry kids.
Yeah.
When you think about some of the major issues that impact our society today, right? Sometimes kids get looked over.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it's not because people don't care, it's because people don't know. And so that's why we're so excited and honored to be able to share Eat, Learn, Play with everybody and raise awareness for it, because it's such a solvable issue. I feel like, put in simple fractions. So here in the Bay Area alone, it's 1 in 4 children from the Oakland public school system go to school hungry or have experienced hunger in some way, shape, or form. That's ridiculous. And so before we even started Eat, Learn, Play, was doing a ton of work with No Kid Hungry, trying to raise awareness for that. And it's gotten better, but it hasn't ended, and that's devastating. And so the goal here with Eat is to, ensure that all of the kids are getting access to healthy nutrition so that they can thrive. So that's really the premise behind it. It's, partnering up with the people around us who are already doing great things, because that's, there are a ton of organizations out there doing amazing work. A lot of people just haven't heard of them. So it's, taking the strength that we have, joining forces with people and amplifying it.
I know that we're going to clap at everything they say pretty much.
This is the best crowd ever. It's just like, just feel so energized. Like, let's keep doing it.
The thing I learned that inspired me the most, and there are a lot of foundations out there, and folks with the kind of platform that you have foundations, but with Eat, Learn, Play, I love this vision that you have, that it's not just a linear solution that you're thinking of, like, raising money and then providing services, providing meals for kids. You're actually thinking about it from tackling the issue, and then hopefully there's a solution behind it. So you need some policy changes as well. And I wasn't sure if maybe one of you might even be thinking about running for office, but I do know that that there's perhaps the vision is that
I feel that in theory sounds great, but I feel like he wants to keep his hair, and I would get in way too much trouble for the things that come out of my mouth. So
I don't know, because hearing
we'll be
from
silent leaders, make
from
change behind the scenes.
Hearing from a lot of what you say, I actually think you're incredibly electable. By the way, I think that you would win
Talk to him.
every election out there. Yeah. But where I was going with that was that, working and partnering with elected leaders is going to be a part of your vision.
Absolutely. So we actually already had the opportunity to partner with First Lady Newsom, and it's been amazing, just advocating for change. And the goal for me, as you guys know, Eat is really my laser focus. And so just ending childhood hunger, it's a national issue, and it's really the goal to get out there and advocate for policy change. And so that is a goal of mine. We're inching our way towards it. But
talk about the school breakfast program.
Yeah, I want to. The goal is to start here in the Bay Area, ensuring that every child gets to go to school and have a breakfast program or a lunch program free of charge, and then scale that out nationally. But it's insane to me that is not already happening here. You look at other places like Europe. These children are getting the most amazing lunches. Test scores are great. Everything is better when your child is fed some sort of nutritious meal to start out their day. It really is, the beginning means to a happy, healthy, thriving life. And so I feel like it starts there personally.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about kids going to school and they're already in debt. Like they can't pay for their school lunches. How does that happen?
Yeah. I actually experienced that as I was a youngin' growing up. I would go to school and wouldn't be able to get a lunch because the account was in a deficit, and I just think that's insane. It shouldn't be the case. So
yeah. And that's why we have Eat, Learn, Play, and we're so excited about the work that you're going to do.
Yes.
That you already are doing. And I don't, a lot of times when we're out there, we're volunteering, we're giving back, we're doing it because it comes from the heart. And maybe we don't even think about like, one person we help, 5 people that we help, that we're making such a huge impact. But for you, both of you, do you ever think about like how tremendous of an impact you're making, not just one kid, but like the entire Bay Area and beyond?
Yes, I think in terms of just our experience, being here in the Bay Area, just the people that I get to interact with on and off the court, in the arena, in the community, all the stuff that the Warriors do in the community, trying to reach out and create that connection. You hear so many amazing stories of kids that are super, super talented, have amazing vision and potential, but the opportunity they're staring off at it in the distance, and it's like you're almost looking at the Salesforce Tower, and it seems like it's 100 miles away. It might as well be, because the opportunity isn't there. And so for every time you hear a story like that, or go to, we had the opportunity to go to the East Oakland Boxing Academy, over the holidays, and kind of just be around motivated kids that found a safe place to go to. After school, to kind of invest in themselves. And there's so many great people that are, investing in the youth as well. But just like, think about just if they just had a simple opportunity to get to that next level, from like Ayesha mentioned, going to school and being fed, so that they can, be attentive and focused and energized in class. And then that leads to, a safe place to play after school, where it's not just, being a part of sports, which we know how much sports can teach us about ourselves and building confidence and community. But you're actively playing, and you're getting a benefit from that. And then on the back end, you think about their college or their educational journey from whatever age through college completion. It's the total kind of formula of creating healthy, happy childhoods and lives. And I think in terms of just where we are right now, I think about just the 1,000 kids that came to our launch event right downtown Oakland at Lake Merritt, and you just think about what impact they can have on the world. And I know it sounds kind of cliche, but like whatever we can do to give them just even a step on the ladder, that will go a long way. And we all can feel good about our impact and our involvement in that process and giving back, because we all had people in our lives. The reason that we're all in this room, we had people in our lives that looked out for us, in some way, shape, or form. And like Ayesha said, we can be that village. And it's very rewarding and impactful. And I think it's the most selfless thing any of us can do as we go about our lives.
Absolutely.
I know, we're just going to keep clapping after every answer. So, quite honestly, right? Like, to be here on a Friday evening and to listen to these two and to be in their vibe versus reading anything in the news right now is probably extended Christmas gift. You mentioned the East Oakland Boxing Association, and I watched that clip. And it involves Ellen, and of course, America's favorite lesbian on TV. And I was quite jealous that got to partner with Ellen. And anyway, so just the truck. It was it was her holiday giveaway, right? And then so watching that truck and her in her cool suit and the Santa hat, and you pull up with the truck and all these toys and these kids and the look on their faces, and then watching both your interaction. I mean, I'm not a stalker or anything, but I do look at some of your videos on your Instagram and stuff, and it's almost like you're the same that you are with your kids with a lot of these kids that you meet out there. And I'd love to hear just what you're hearing from kids, directly from. I would imagine, like, you've made my dream come true, but just how you've also impacted them directly.
I think the most consistent thing you hear is that, especially the kids in Oakland, they there's such a connection to anybody who shows up where they are and meets them where they are, you know, with whatever resource, nugget of wisdom, just just a, you know, a grain of care and love. Like you mentioned that word before, and that's a real thing. And so you take the most extreme example of, you know, I don't even know how much money was in that truck about products and stuff that we were able to give to those kids and hopefully change lives in that process. But I think just the act of going to where they are and seeing them and making them feel special and cared about, and that there's people out there fighting for them on a daily basis. I don't think they get that message very often. And so that's the impact of it beyond the material things and the opportunity. It's mostly just an encouragement that, you know, we're human, we matter, and there are people out there that are looking out for our best interests, and I think there's an appreciation for that. So that's the most rewarding thing that keeps the truck going down the highway, for lack of a better term. And so I think for us that's huge. Yeah.
I feel like, you know, just like we all want to be heard in here, the kids want to be heard as well. And it's so crazy to me because watching the show, I'm sure some people were like, "Oh, it's a truck full of iPads." Great. And I think it's less what you hear and more what you see. So you see, you know, these tears in a child's eyes, and then you realize, oh, it's not because of the iPad. Well, it's a little bit because of the iPad. But now this child has access to an endless amount of educational apps and games that are going to help them further, you know, their education while they're at East Oakland Boxing Association. And it's just going to open their minds and worlds to an endless amount of possibilities. And I think that there's power in that, that something like an iPad could possibly change the next few steps of a child's life. So.
Mm-hmm.
That leads me to the second pillar, which is learn. And you already have done a couple things that are really great and amazing, such as, you know, helping kids or, fill out their college applications for the first time. We've talked a little bit about that before. But let's talk about, you know, the learn part.
Absolutely.
And your commitment to youths continuing their education.
So I think I'll share the stats with you. 12% of Oakland public school students graduate within 6 years of graduating high school. That's insane. Only 12%. And so clearly there's a lack of quality education and resources for children that just need an extra push. And so I'll let you talk a little bit about what's out there and who we've been partnering up with.
I think, like I said, that number is staggering, but in terms of, you know, this part of the child's journey, it's extremely important. We all know that. For us, it's a learning process in terms of how we really want to create impact. Right now, it's been around, you know, college application, access, and you know, further support once they get into college. There's, you know, two organizations that we work with in the past year, College Track, and EOIDC, the East Oakland Youth Development Center. Both have infrastructure to support, you know, kids as they go through the process to, you know, do their applications and even, you know, some support to even enter college, and then again that support system and that network to be able to, you know, see them through that process, because, you know, college is a whole big world in and of its own, and you know, you need that support, even not just to get there, but to get through it. And so those two organizations are near and dear to the Eat, Learn, Play, you know, team, and it's been amazing we went to College Track, to their offices right downtown Oakland, and watched about probably a little under 100 new college applicants, second generation college applicants that were submitting their application that day, and I'll tell you what, like the energy in the room, like it made me want to go back to school, just because it's like they're, you know, all the applications are going in, they're all, you know, doing it at the same time, and they kind of go up and they hit this button and they say, "I've completed my process." I can't remember the proper term, but they basically shout out to the whole room what they just accomplished.
Yep.
And it's a celebration.
Where they were going to be going.
Yeah, and it's a celebration in terms of how big of a step that is, and how they're not taking it for granted. They're going to take that opportunity and run with it. So for us, it's just about learning about how to really make an impact in that space, and partnering with the right, organizations and groups that are in the community, attached to these kids, and support them how we can.
You mentioned Oakland and a lot of stats around Oakland, so it's obvious that you have a lot of love and care for Oakland specifically. It's obvious, like, for even someone like me who's just reading about it, that Oakland feels like an extended family to both of you. Let's talk about why Oakland is so important.
Absolutely.
Well, we got to drive a parade bus down Broadway 3 times. Downtown.
But that's not
Humble brag.
That's not why.
Humble brag. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Warriors, we need a little uplift right now. It's been good. It's been good. We'll be back. It's our adoptive home. We were just babies coming out here. I think I was 21 when I got drafted, and Ayesha was 20, and we didn't have any kids yet. We were just setting up life on our own, and again, like I said, where we came from, Oakland adopted us, and not just what we do on the court, or what Ayesha's done in her business, but just there's just a culture and an energy and a realness about Oakland that we resonated with really, really, really well. And I think everywhere we go, again, I've heard those connections. People just want to know a little bit about you and just support you and celebrate you. And we want to do that for the city that support us. For these last 11 years, this is where we've raised our kids so far, and I think it's been an amazing journey, just coming from North Carolina to out here, and just understanding what Oakland's really about. Like, that's a big jump, and for us, wouldn't have it any other way. And so for us to have any opportunity to give back to the city that has given us so much, it means a lot.
I'm just going to keep clapping for like 45 more minutes.
Oh my God.
Are you sure you want to add something?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think for me, it's where I became a mom. We have 3 children now. And it's really where once I became a mom, I started to notice.
I thought she was.
Oh, you thought she was over?
Yeah.
No, I think she's in the room. Our oldest is here watching. She begged us to come. But you kind of tend to turn a blind eye to the things that are going on right in front of your face until you become a parent, and then your world opens up, and you're like, oh my goodness. And I think for me, wanting to start our foundation in Oakland was because that's where I noticed the need firsthand. And once our oldest got to the age to go to school, that's when I started becoming aware of the void that was around her, and that the stats at the time were 1 in 6 children across the country were going to school hungry. And I was like, that could be the person she's sitting next to in class. That's ridiculous. How do we change this? And so it's the place that I'll never forget, in our Jack London Square apartment. I just realized the void. And as a parent, you don't want to see any child in that situation. And so I just, the seed was planted, and I needed to make an impact and make change. And so we don't have to, I don't want my daughter growing up and, having children and having to think about that. I don't want anybody having to deal with that. And it's something that's, again, so solvable. And so why not start there? Why not start now? It's the thing,
Last thing I'll add to that is just the people that we've met that are, again, in the community doing the team, and just the sense of responsibility and accountability for, taking care of the community. There's so many just powerful, special people. Some in this room. I always talk about Regina Jackson from EOYDC, who's my favorite person, just in terms of like, just when you talk to her and you sense the passion about, like I just said, that the need that's there and how that, that she can go about attacking it, and just the success stories that come out of her program and programs alike, like it's really easy to get motivated and excited about how special the Bay Area is, but Oakland especially.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you're both you're putting Oakland on the map in today's time in terms of highlighting the issues that we really need to be talking about. And a lot of the issues they're national, so we're not immune to homelessness or the crisis that we're experiencing with displacement, gentrification, and these things that impact communities of color, and that also leads to poverty that many children are experiencing, something like food insecurity. And like you said, it's a solvable issue. But at the same time, when people think about Oakland, even now San Francisco, people are saying, "Oh, I'm afraid to step into San Francisco because of what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing." But I feel like you're putting out, you're telling people stories, and we really have a strong community here of people who are digging in and taking care of our communities and doing great work. So, talking about some of the great people that you met. Let's talk about the people that you want to partner with, some other folks that you are continuing to partner with, and organizations that deserve to tell their stories.
Absolutely. Do you want to take this one?
I think, like you said, the power and what Eat, Learn, Play is and how we want to represent it is the power in the collective too, because like I said, it's not something we want to get into programming, we want to get into policy change, but our investment in organizations that are doing amazing work, and kind of what you spoke on, is it's about awareness, right? Like there's an ability for us to be able to have the the megaphone out and I talk about the groups that we've talked about before and go through the whole. This isn't about us going down on all the receipts, but it's literally just saying our awareness, our ability to raise awareness on the issues that are at hand, the people that are doing the amazing work, and where money can and time and resources can make a true instrumental change is what we're about. And so I was thinking about our launch event I mentioned, and working with Oakland Parks and Rec group and their talent camps that they have over the course of the summer. And we have almost 1,000 kids at our launch event that are all a part of the talent camps, and like being able to support them and provide scholarships to have kids just be able to have access to Eat, Learn, Play programming through those talent camps over the summer, which are really trying times for kids at that developmental age, when you're not in school and your parents are struggling to figure out exactly how to keep the kids engaged and to keep them in safe over the course of those summer months. Those opportunities are going to continue to influence every kid's chance to be successful. And so I think that process of identifying and vetting out those organizations is what the power and the team that we have, and then the networking and the ability to be in the community and kind of hear from the people that are in touch with where the needs are. And so that'll be an ongoing conversation and an understanding, and really proud of what we've done in less than a year. And so that gives me, and I know Ayesha and our group, another level of excitement about what's to come for sure.
You talked about your children and you wanting them to grow up in a different world, and I think we all want that for the next generation. But what would a more equal and just world, what would that look like for you if you were planning out the future, not just for your own kids but all the kids out there?
I just feel like everybody should be afforded the same chances, equal opportunity, the chance to great education, safe spaces to play, and healthy, nutritious meals. I mean, it's these fundamental things, and it sounds so silly when you say them out loud, but it's not. And there's people that don't have any of that. And so for me, it would look like every child, no matter what, we ensure that, they have access to all of those things, so that we're not it's 2020. There's no reason to leave it to luck for people when there's a world that we're able to change it for them. And so I just, yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
I like that.
By the way, Stefan, I used to serve as a board president for San Francisco Pride, and it was during the years. And the most exciting thing ever was that we got 2 parades in the month of June in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, but the greatest years were, we there would be the Warriors parade, and then a couple days after it'd be the San Francisco Pride Parade. So it was like millions of people just walking down the street for a whole weekend, and it a very proud moment at the same time. Just this feeling of being so free and so part of your world and the Bay Area and our world and all these communities like coming together. You both bring like so much fun, this aura of just incredible fun. And I know you do it with your children because, again, I watched videos on your social media.
Totally fine.
And then I also witnessed it back there. And
Oh yeah, you witnessed a lot back there.
yeah.
Hi, Riley.
Yeah, but I mean, are you always having fun and going out there and especially with like when kids are around and I'll add this. I mean, the holidays. You guys showed up to an event with over 2,000 families in the Bay Area dressed as the Grinch, but like a prosthetic mask and then
We went all in. We went all in.
Yeah.
Now, Christmas with the Currys is an awesome event that we do. Where we were at, where were we at? Fox Theater, sorry. Yeah, Fox
Thank
Theater
you.
in Oakland. And we were able to serve over 500 families. And it's been, the applause is not for us, it's for the people that support our organization that give us the opportunity to be, to create those experiences. And so we really wanted to up the ante this year with that. So we did the prosthetics, and I tried to do
Everybody
the
knew
Grinch
it
voice
was
and the
us.
whole deal.
It didn't work.
It worked for a little bit, right? Like, this is, you sure? Come on. All right. You can't walk in with the Grinch with like this cameras and people all following. That's the easy tell. But anyway, just to create that experience for the kids was amazing. Obviously over the holiday season where there is so much need, from a meal perspective, but we try to provide as many, resources as possible, and all the essentials and we had so many partners that came together. I could run that list for a whole day, but it was unbelievable. And so hopefully everyone that was a part of that felt special about what we were able to create, and that's only going to continue to get bigger and better. But fun is something that I think at this point in our relationship and our ability to kind of leverage everything that we have, we only want to do things that we're passionate about, that, like you said, we enjoy doing. And this is a labor of love in terms of committing as much time as possible. That's part of the reason why now is why You Learn Play is what it is, because you don't just do this just to do it. You really get behind it and you put all that you can into making it successful for the people that you want to impact. And Ayesha loves to say it's not about legacy, it's about impact. Like, everybody has the opportunity, no matter what scale it is, to look back and say, yeah, I used every bit of, the resources that I had, the connections that I had, and the money that I had to make a difference, and you feel good about that. And so that's been a huge part of our journey for sure.
Yeah. Which makes you, the most, one of the most perfect couples, probably.
Far from it.
I mean, relationship goals for sure. Amazing parents, right? And that you're raising your humans will grow up to be pretty caring, amazing humans who also have fun.
We hope so.
Right? And so I kind of want to stay on that. I mean, you met when you're teenagers, 14, 15 years old, and then got together later in college. I really am not stalking you both.
It's fine. I think it's on Wikipedia. I think it's fine.
I know. I have this thing where I can remember just certain little tidbits. But what I'm getting at is that you have a real sense of strong commitment to each other, and now it just sounds that I feel like maybe the mojo behind it all is that you both have a lot of fun together.
That's true, right?
Wait, right?
I mean, sometimes.
What?
Sometimes.
What makes it all work?
Depends
so
on
well?
if you're golfing that day or not. I'm just joking.
Touche.
I'm just kidding.
hat
I'm
tip.
kidding. No, yeah, yes, absolutely. We have fun together. I think what it is for us is we never want to get too comfortable, and I said this the other day, but like people talk about getting the bag, like.
What?
People.
Break it down.
So I said this once before, but everybody talks about securing this bag, this like invisible bag of like wealth and luxury. And who cares about that when there are people starving? So it's like, we know that we're blessed, but we never want to get too comfortable in that. And so we feel like it's our duty and our mission to give back and to help the people around us and the people that have raised us and supported us so much over the years through our adulthood and now with our own family. We wouldn't feel right. The world wouldn't be right if we weren't doing something to help make change and impact. So that's really what it is. It's not about, while this is fun and it's a blessing to be able to see the shift, it's more so about just making sure that, we have gratitude and are giving back to this beautiful place that has given so much to us.
Thank you.
And just it's weird because it's very surreal. Like every day you wake up and you kind of think about like what life is and kind of your reality, and you try to make sense of it all like everybody does. And I think for us, a part of like kind of what we stand for and how we represent our families and all that, Ayesha is amazing at just the authenticity and realness about like what's going on in her head and being able to like relate to people whatever level. And so like sometimes you got to be okay with how it's received, because if people care what you have to say, you're not going to please everybody. But the biggest thing is about being real, being true and authentic, and being all right with that. And I think everything that what ELP represents is a manifestation of that. And I think we all have a chance to be bold and courageous in terms of living that truth out. And so I think that's important. And I've actually taken a lot of, I'm buttering up to you, I've taken a lot of a lot of inspiration from that, for real, to be honest. Like being in the spotlight, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it's something that you take the good with the bad, because there's way more good than bad. But we're all human at the same token. So for us, to your question, like it is a connection and a support between us two that makes it all work. It's not always perfect. Every day is a new challenge, but the good and the fruits that come out of that, I think for us it helps us make sense of this crazy world that we live in, for sure.
They're just really great, amazing human beings.
crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which I have a story to tell.
Okay.
To tell both of you, tell all of you, and then everyone else who's watching this right now. When I was growing up, it was like middle school, and I really wanted to play basketball. Yeah.
Respect.
But my mom, she was really strict, and she wanted us all to go to college, and she kept piling on all this, these classes. But anyway, 7th, 8th grade, I go to Foot Locker, and I want these basketball shoes so bad. Nikes, I'm sure, Jordans or something like that, right? But they didn't have my size.
The Currys weren't out yet.
Yeah, the
I know, I was like, you mean they weren't Under Armours?
Close.
No, but they are now, and in a special way. And I'm telling you this story because I asked the woman, I said, can I try on these shoes? She said, they don't make them in your size.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously male basketball shoes. And I said, well, can I just try on the smallest size that you have anyway? Because I wanted these shoes so bad. And she was so annoyed with me. Like, they don't fit you. We don't make shoes, for little girls. And so I walked out of the Foot Locker so sad, and I tell my sister, my younger sister, and she's a year younger, but she's like 35 years older in spirit. So she like waltzed back in there and was like, she wants to try on these shoes. You will let her try on these shoes. Anyway, she let me try on the shoes because she got in trouble by the manager. But fast forward, though, to 2018, a young girl writes to you.
I got you now.
Yeah.
Got you.
And asked why, the Curry shoes, basketball shoes, why they don't make them in for girls. And you responded, but like in a way in which I wish I had that opportunity when I was her age.
But before that, before he responded, I said, "Ooh, she got you." What you gonna do?
You partnered with Under Armour and you made it happen.
Yeah.
You got her. The shoes are out, and tell us all about that because
I mean, that's
not
part
every
of-
basketball
yeah.
star responds in that way.
No, that's part about just listening and being open and understanding. Like, you don't have everything figured out. And so for me, we did make them in her size. The problem was she was going on the website and looking under the girls section, and my shoes weren't listed under the girls section. So her experience as a fan of mine, wanting to be a part of my story, wear my shoes, there's a sense of pride to be like, I'm going to the girls section, they make them for me, they're my size, like you said, and I get to rock them and feel good on the court and go, shoot from 30 feet and try to live the dream. And so that's when she wrote me a handwritten note. Riley Morrison, she lives in Napa, and she's 9 at the time, and she wrote me a letter telling me about her experience, how frustrating it was to have to go to the boys section to find her size, the youth boys section to find her size, and this is something that Under Armour and myself should try to fix. And so part of like her experience, I took a couple of days to call Under Armour, make sure that we could do something about it, make the switch, make sure that they were labeled correctly on the website. I wrote her handwritten note back. You probably saw it. I posted it back to her to let her story be known to the world, that we were trying to fix, an issue that was kind of taken for granted for her, at the beginning. And part of the understanding of how we can leverage opportunities like this to make a true impact. Riley Morrison's story, her writing a handwritten note, changing the labeling of my shoes on the Under Armour site, led to her designing the sock liner for my Curry 6 International Women's Day shoe that she personally hand drew. All of the money that was received on that signature shoe went to donors' shoes to support all of the STEM programs throughout the Bay Area from last year. So it's like the whole process, and like just the benefit of like being able to just again hear her story and figure out, all right, how can we really make a true impact. Like Riley gets to now grow up and know that she impacted other kids' lives because she was bold enough to speak up. And thankfully I had partners that were courageous and quick enough to listen and make a change, and that impact's crazy. So that's how we try to leverage the entire all the relationships and partners that believe in us to go out and do some pretty cool things.
Yeah.
That was cool.
But also a strong message to all the young little girls out there that, they can be equal as well, mm-hmm. and they should be equal, which, again, another amazing thing that it's part of your foundation, that's also part of your core values. You got 2 girls. Well, I shouldn't, in my world, we never want to put gender on top of everything, as far as how they identify, at least for now. And then a wife, but a wife who has 5 restaurants, 2 television shows, a New York Times best-selling book, and probably the list goes on. I can't list them all tonight because I have 23 minutes left. But also a mom, and so
Most important.
yes,
yeah,
for all the women here tonight, those who identify as women who are also hardworking, career-oriented, a wonderful mom, and also moms who want to give back to their communities, Ayesha, would love to hear just kind of how do you do it all, but two, yeah, well, let's start there.
I think the simplest answer is you just do it. I mean, I feel like all women know, like, you have a child, like, you just do it. Something clicks in your brain, and you're looking back on the time that you spent not as a parent, and you're like, what was I really doing with my time? Because I'm able to do this, and that now, and raise these children. Like, why couldn't somebody have told me to better use my time? But I think you just do it. And for me, it's realizing that there's no such thing as balance. It doesn't actually exist. And that we're all, whoever you are, just running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to figure it out. So if we continue to realize that we're all in the same coop,
Ooh.
then we're good. We can be headless chickens together. So it's like, that's where I find peace, is like knowing nobody has it together, and like, let's just.
Marshawn was right. You take care of your chickens.
Absolutely. What?
Did anybody get
You have to
that?
fill me
Sorry,
in on
I'll
this
figure
later.
it out. I got you. Double entendre.
I missed
there.
that one. Fill me in on this
I
later.
got you.
Oh, don't worry about me. All the sayings, idioms, meanings, like I never get them anyway. They go in one ear, out the other. English is a second language for me, even though I was born and
First of all,
raised
that's
here.
amazing.
Yeah.
I speak one language. So shame on me.
By the way, I did have a chance to go to International Smoke just the other day. I wanted to channel, I keep hearing from everyone who's met you in person, like kids and adults. I mean, the adults were running after you upstairs earlier, but who are just so fond of you and who keep saying like how great, honest, genuine, and cool you both are. And so I wanted to really get to know you without having met you first. So that's why I went to International Smoke. And I just want to say the oysters with the miso butter.
Thank you. You like that?
I told the
you.
woman who served me the drink, I said, man, because she asked me, did you like it? I said, it was so velvety. What is that?
Oh,
Yeah, but
thank
it was so wild because it's served in this, is it a clay pot? It's a really hot
It's
pot.
a really, really hot cast iron skillet, and we put salt rocks on and get them real hot. So we pour this lemongrass tea, and it like infuses the room. It's amazing.
See, I told you. Anyway, I brought that up just because, I mean, you truly make great food, and you're so conscientious of flavors. And when you talk about food, and then also with Eat, Learn, Play, you also talk about how it's so important for people and kids to feel nourished.
Yeah.
And I just don't want people to walk out here thinking that, just the work in itself is just about giving back because you care about this issue, but that you're also extremely passionate about food.
Yeah, I really am. I think I realized at a young age what a vessel it was for change, and how much it brought people together. So I grew up in this big Jamaican household. My grandma's like a 6-foot-tall Jamaican woman. She still has her accent. It's amazing. But they would prepare food, and people, neighbors, strangers would come over and eat because they enjoyed it so much. But I noticed people started to build relationships, and they started to communicate. And then within those lines of communication, they started to make change, small pockets of change, regardless of what it was for. And so I just realized like how powerful food is. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. It's universal. And I'm also passionate about it because, I believe that every kid, adult should have access to food to be able to create that communication and that camaraderie and that sense of love within food. So it's really...
There is a
Absolutely.
plan to build more playgrounds and then also programs to get kids to be active, be in sports.
9 out of 10 of lower income kids in the Oakland school district don't get the recommended 60 minutes of playtime. That's insane. And less than 20% of those kids aren't in any sort of extracurricular activity. So whether it be
Organized
basketball, organized sports. Thank you, honey. That's ridiculous. And again, I know I say this a lot, but very solvable.
Yeah.
But it's a domino effect. So that's why Eat, Learn, Play is so important to us, because it all starts with that healthy meal. If they have a healthy meal, they're able to have higher brain function, focus in class, and then have the energy to go outside and play. And then where we come in is, creating these safe spaces to play. Because imagine going home after a long day of school and you're hungry still, and there's not a park within 5 miles of your home, or not a safe park for you to go to within 5 miles of your home. So that's really like the premise of play for us, is to create these safe spaces for kids to play and encourage that active lifestyle.
We did it in Oakland, in Concordia Park. They would do a court refurbishment there. Oakland Parks and Rec has been a huge help in that respect. Like she said, just being able, like for me personally, you talk about passions, like I know how much competition and camaraderie and that element creates, again, self-confidence. It opens you up to people, kids from different backgrounds, different interests. Like, being outside, and, in today's age, obviously with, a tech-hungry world, that's obviously important, but you have to have that balance. And for kids, you want to make sure you protect that as much as possible. And so if we can create, those safe places, and then partner with programs or organizations that are creating programming for kids to be involved with, and giving them that perspective at a young age that they can carry through, whether they play professional sports or not. That's not the issue. It's about just all that you can learn by playing, sports at a young age would mean a lot. So that's the goal.
I want to tell you both, I'm that kid that you're changing, their lives today, and it would have meant the world to me if 15 years ago that I had 2 mentors like you. Went to school hungry. I went to school ashamed that I was hungry. I couldn't play a sport because the truth was, actually, I was never going to buy the shoes. I couldn't afford it. And then sports had become so expensive. And then, fast forward, here I am sitting next to both of you. You made this adult dream come true, but you're making the young Michelle Meow's dream come true, and an equal playing field and equal opportunity for everyone who might have, been growing up in the same background as me. And so thank you so much to both of you for Eat, Learn, Play, for being Stefan and Ayesha, and everything that you do for our community. Now is the time for those beautiful, brilliant last words, if you have them.
Well, I didn't actually know what I was going to say. I was just going to start talking. But I guess I would love to, first of all, thank you for saying that.
Sure.
It's amazing. That I guess I want to leave everybody maybe a little uncomfortable with a couple of, just sitting up here, I was thinking, wow, as a parent, it takes a lot of hard work to even have the means to be able to discipline your children in the way that a lot of us in this room may have grown up being disciplined by our parents. And just a couple of statements come to mind, things like, you better finish your breakfast, or you better clear that plate and eat your dinner, or you don't go to school to socialize, you go there to get an education, or put that phone down and get outside and go play with your friends. I think about statements like that, and, having the confidence as a parent to be able to discipline your children in that way, if we call it discipline, or to nurture your children in that way. And I think about all of the parents that can't do that because their kids don't have a safe park to go to, and they want to protect them and keep them within the confines of their home, or the education is not the best at the school that they're going to, or they simply can't afford to send their child to school with a breakfast. That is devastating. And so I guess I just encourage you all to put yourself in, not in the kids' shoes, but in the shoes of the parents who are doing what they can, but just need a little bit of help, and they need that village. Know that you can be that for them, and that we're here to support that, along with all of our partners and all of the organizations out there that are already doing such great things, and that we're going to bring everybody together and amplify this thing and blow it up, and hopefully change the course of a lot of young people's lives. So thank you for being here. Do you have anything to say?
That was it.